Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Streamers Forum. My name is Joan Sala. I'm the global business editor at the Hollywood Reporter. And we have an esteemed panel here. We thought we'll bring out a very, very international crowd to talk about indie film streaming platforms and the evolving hybrid model of theatrical and streaming, and how we can hopefully find a bigger audience out there for exciting films. I'm going to start the introductions with the lady on the panel. We have here Dafni Bechtsi. She's the founder and CEO of Cinobo. She's from Greece, but works obviously, like most of you, from around the world, wherever there's Wi-Fi or internet available. She launched a platform a few years ago, and what they do is offer a subscription VOD service in Greece, the first of its kind, and it's offering films and series. And Cinobo, in case you have not come across the name, it stands for Cinema with No Borders. And that means international films, but also films without any limitations in terms of diversity and other things. Welcome, Dafni.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Then on the other end, we have Mathias Noschis. Sorry, Mathias, I knew I would mess it up. He's the film marketing strategist at Alphapanda. It's a European digital marketing agency. He grew up in Finland, speaks perfect French, lives in Berlin now, so he's been to various places as well. And what his company does is work with big-name clients like Warner Brothers or Paramount, but also with independent sales companies, small distributors and production companies, as well as streaming platforms to devise marketing strategies. And last but not least, we have our Spanish friend here, Joan Sala, and he works for the company Filmin, which you might be aware of. He's the co-head of acquisitions over there. They're based in Barcelona. They offer a streaming service, subscription streaming, but they also do things like a festival. We can talk about this in Mallorca. They acquire rights, they work on distribution, and they even have their own original content. Welcome to you as well.
Thank you so much.
And I thought maybe for those people who are not familiar with what these guys all do, I thought maybe we can start off by you guys explaining a little bit what your festival has been focused on, what you guys have seen and maybe acquired or looking at using on your platforms, or what you already had deals for, and tell us a little bit what the takeaways. Do you want to start, Sean?
Okay, a pleasure, yeah. Okay, it's one of the key questions, no? When you are here in the market and you have your meetings with the sales agents, it's like, okay, what are you looking for, you know? And it's like, okay, the easy answer can be, you know what works, you know, true crimes, biopics. But I think that we have clear that right now the main problem that we have is the abundancy. We have, it's so much offer, so much to choose, you know, and the people, when you are at home to choose one movie to watch, you get baffled, you know, so what we are looking for? We are mainly looking for qualitative, diverse, distinguished content. You know, I'm here when I am watching movies, I am watching movies, but also having in mind like this kind of advertising language, you know, trying to identify which could be the potential target of this movie. How could I work on this movie? It's very important with the movie to think about the poster, the trailer, where is the key point of the movie where I can have the cliffhanger, you know, in order to get the audience, in order, I want to get informed about this movie. I want to dig about this movie, you know. It can be a comedy, a genre movie, a drama, a documentary, you know. For me, that's the key thing, yeah.
No, definitely. I heard that one of the movies that we saw earlier this week, Andrew Arnold's Bird, has something to do with your platform. Tell us a little bit about that.
Definitely. Yeah, maybe I will start by complementing what we do from the introduction. So we started as a streaming service 4 years ago, but then we quickly after that started also distributing titles. So our vision is to make great cinema truly accessible, whether that is in a small screen or in a big screen. And we grew really fast, and our distribution lineup includes things like Decision to Leave, Titan, Fallen Leaves from Maki Kaurismäki, and we are here to basically find those films that deserve to reach the audience. We go to every screening, we go to a lot of appointments with sales agents, and we try to handpick the best titles that we want to bring to the Greek audience, whether that is for a digital-only release or whether that is for a hybrid release, theatrical and digital. Yeah. That's us.
Now, how would Bird fit into this, for example? What drew you to this movie?
Yeah, so we're actually really excited about this year's acquisitions because we got Bird from Andrea Arnold, and we absolutely love this film. And we will be obviously distributing it in theaters first. We always have a theatrical first approach. We feel like this way we can maximize the potential of the film, and then follow close after it starts quieting down the theatrical release, we release in the platform and in other media. So yeah, Andrea Arnold, Bird, also All We Imagine Is Light, the Indian film from competition, the Balconettes that we were discussing earlier. So a lot of good picks this year.
Now, out of curiosity, we have a Spanish platform, a Greek platform. Do you guys ever think about taking what you have on offer beyond your country? Is there like an opportunity in Spanish language, in Greek expats living in the US or elsewhere? How do you guys think about going beyond your borders?
For example, we have a good example right now, Arcadico Film Festival. Right now we are collaborating with a festival that is Arcadico. It's been for 2 months, if I'm not bad, and we are sharing the same titles with the territories where Greece, Spain.
So it's Spain, Portugal, Greece, Cyprus, and Italy. So with the programmers of the 3 platforms, Filmin, My Movies in Italy, and Cinobo, have co-created a festival with the support of the Creative Europe Media, and it's been a great success. And it's been
25,000 admissions we had, viewings. Yeah. So yeah, I'm very happy about that. And we mix also classical movies with more contemporary movies, So yeah.
Sounds exciting.
Example.
Matthias, I have to ask you, marketing and getting movies out there, some of my friends always say, easy, this is a great movie. But then I always hear, oh, why didn't more people see this exciting movie? Tell me a little bit of what trends you see, and how do you work with people like these two here or other people at a festival here to help them optimize the reach of their films?
Well, when you think digital marketing, there's always, or marketing in general, there's always 2 parts. There's marketing B2B, so marketing to the industry, and marketing B2C, so which is marketing to the audience. So of course, when we are here at the Cannes Film Festival, this year there are 8 films in the program that we are working for. So, all the communication that we're doing now is mostly like towards the industry, so really so that the industry hears about the film. Because at the end of the day, even if you are selected at Cannes, you still need to kind of promote the film and get a buzz and get people interested in the film. And then, of course, at the same time, what we're doing at a festival like this is that we also record interviews with directors or, create material that will be used like later at the time of the theatrical release or the VOD release, in order to kind of have these little video featurettes that you put on TikTok or Instagram, that kind of stuff. And then, of course, when we have worked with several indie platforms. We've worked with one called La Cinéthèque, or one called Sooner. And now we're launching a new platform in Switzerland called Cinema Suisse. And when we work with those ones, the question is always like, okay, what is the marketing strategy? What's the image of the brand? And how can we translate that in social media language? So I would say that's the work what we do when we work with those guys.
Now, when you do this work, do you focus on a title-by-title approach? Do you try to package themes together, filmmakers? How do you think about the marketing prism and the focus?
I mean, we've done both, and I'd be curious to see if you share this experience. But you know, we have done several times that we were promoting individual films and thinking, you know, you're one click away. So it's really great to do digital marketing. You're like, do you want to watch whatever film, click here, you can watch it straight away. And actually the return is very low, or the conversion rate is actually super low. And even for me, we had an example that was completely crazy. We were working for the digital cinema of Locarno, and some of the films were basically available worldwide for free. And for some of the films, you had less than 500 clicks, you know, and even though we were putting money to advertise them as well. So nowadays, what we always suggest to the platforms we work with is much more to work on the image of the platform itself and give like a real brand. You know, I mean, Filmin in Spain is typically one of those. You know, you go to Filmin like you go to Netflix. You don't go to Tony Erdmann on, you see what I mean? So it's really work on the identity of the platform so that people then think about that platform when they want to watch a film. But I don't know if you agree.
No, totally. For us, I think that in some way, Filmin, you have to keep in mind that we were pioneers. Filmin was created in 2008 when Netflix was still sending DVDs at homes, you know? It was... our bosses see that what was happening with the music in Napster, and they say in Spain there was like a very high rate of piracy. So here we have to do something, and they started working on the platform idea. First of all the shareholders, because Filmin, I have to say that shareholders of Filmin are the main independent art house distributors of Spain. You know, so they approached their shareholder, hey, we think that we must go online because the home industry is going down. So let's go and say, hey, you are crazy, guys. You're completely crazy. How are we going to do this? You know, we started with adventure. We were the first one that we launched a subscription service in Europe. It was in 2012. We were the first one that we launched an app, an iOS app to have the subscription service. And then it came 2015, the key date when the big players arrived to Spain. There we were like very, very little, very tiny still, and all the people were like, wow, now it comes to Netflix, so what is going to happen with Filmin? And our bosses were like, we need that they come now. We must have them. And that's true, they helped us, because once they came to Spain, the first thing, the VOD market grew. Once that the VOD market grew, that means that the people started normalizing to pay a subscription, because before that, the people, what they did is to download movies. Spain was at that time the second country with higher rate of piracy after China. So keep this in mind. So this is the first thing. So the market grows, our little parcel also starts growing, and here is the thing. Among the big players, in some way, they play the same league. You know, they have like the same format. And it's where there is a difference. Sometimes I make this kind of analogy, you know, that for me the offer that there is, it's like when you go to eat maybe an Asian buffet, for example, that it's not so good, and you choose, then you should see all the food, and you choose noodles or chicken or the fish, and then you eat, and all of them has the same taste. It's soya taste, you know, and you have it, and then you get it, and you don't have this feeling of, wow, I eat good, you know. So they help us in some way to differentiate. And what you said, my colleague, it's like, what we do is, I always say it's a handmade platform. You know, okay, of course, we work in a little way with algorithm, you know, but we work, it's very important, collections, channels, to connect also and offer the movies connecting with actuality, you know, in this sense. So the people when comes, or the subscriber, or the newcomer to the platform, here is something completely different comparing with the other platform, no? And that helps us. And little by little, we have been like start growing, and keeping our space, you know, while, as we say, we are chameleons in a world of dinosaurs. The dinosaurs are they our competition, yes, but we do like slowly, and gaining our parcel, yeah.
Now, Dafni, how about you? Is it similar over there, or you started much later, right?
Yeah, we started 4 years ago. We actually went online the same day the cinema closed for COVID, which was a really sad coincidence. I mean, we were preparing for 1.5 years earlier, and we weren't planning on COVID, but it was accidentally happened the same day, which in a way I think it helped to boost us a bit at the time, but also it it amplified competition very much because a not healthy industry is not helpful to anybody. But yeah, our life is very similar to Filmin. We're actually very sister companies in what we do. But yeah, going back to what we were saying earlier about the way of advertising films, what we see is very much similar to what you see, as in, if you just put a film out there and start trying to get views on the film straight away, it's not something that can work. You really need to raise awareness of the film or the brand to bring people to that film. So we find that, apart from the fact that we love the dark room and the collective experience of cinema and theater, we also appreciate theatrical release a lot because it does give a huge boost to the films in digital. So, I mean, there's also evidence out there, like a lot of US studies have shown that, for example, in the first 28 days after a release in a platform, the films that have been released theatrically before have 75% more views. And that's something we also see at Cinobo. Like our top 10 of all time only has one title that is not a theatrical release, and that is Normal People, the series, the TV show. So it's something that we definitely see. It really helps to grow visibility and awareness of the film. But I think it also works the other way around. I think the digital, like Cinobo as a platform, has really helped theatrical releases because it creates a brand, it creates a loyalty, it creates a trust to the audience and gives incentive. Like when you release a film as Cinobo, because you're synonymous to quality cinema, it's easier for you to bring people to the cinema. So I think it's a relationship that is reciprocal in helping the releases. And actually, recently, we acquired two of the most important cinemas in the city center of Athens. So we continue the reciprocal marketing, as in, like, Cinobo sends you to the cinema, then you go to the cinema, you watch the films that Cinobo advises you to watch. Then, at the same time, you advertise your platform, people come to the platform, they have great access to great cinema, which means they can fall in love with cinema more, which ends up in more cinema going. So it's a whole system in a way.
Here we have a very good example with 20 Days in Mariupol, the Oscar-winning documentary. We released it in the platform just 1 month previous to the Oscars. Then it won the Oscars, and after won the Oscar, right now it's in more than 14 screens in Spain. They are like individual screens, and in Cinematheques, in the non-theatrical circuit, or maybe also in these specific theaters. And it's been for the last, since the Oscars, and the movie is still doing and that's what you are saying, it's like retroactive, and that's a very good point because 7-8 years ago, we were like enemies of the cinemas. The cinema sees us like an enemies, and it's normal because of the piracy. And at least in Spain, the theatrical it's not easy going at all, So, but now it's completely different in some way, and the key thing is to complement each other,
Now, I love this theme that streaming and cinemas can coexist, and the love for films can be broadened. Now, Matthias, do you have any evidence that shows a similar positive impact on each other, or maybe do you have evidence to the opposite, that the one thing eats into the other in terms of interest from audiences?
I mean, evidence, no, but like experience and stuff like that. Maybe I would answer from a slightly different angle, which is we also notice that it can be, or at least when we put together our strategies for a marketing campaign, social media marketing campaign, we often have a different target audience for theatrical and for VOD, and it will evolve. So in a way, I think the theatrical is really important to create the image and stuff like that, but then, it will be a slightly different audience that will watch it at home. First of all, because some people don't have a cinema close by. Nowadays, indie films stay 2 or 3 weeks in cinemas, in 1 week, in 3 main cities of the whole country and stuff like that. So of course, we're only advertising in those cities for cinephiles and stuff like that, whereas for VOD, it's different. For example, one thing which is quite quite typical is films that include like nudity or erotic or stuff like that, but that are still like art house films. At the cinema, you will have the typical art house audience with gray hair and stuff like that, whereas at home, you will have like a different type of people who will watch it in a different way and stuff like that. And so, of course, this is something that we need to keep in mind when we do our strategies, to kind of think, okay, who will be the theatrical audience? Who is the... I'm not saying it's radically different, but it's just like primary, secondary, we're alternating and stuff like that, and we can see that in the engagement and, in the number of clicks that we get and stuff like that.
And following on this, I think that it's also that it's a very good news that we complement with cinemas, but another key point is also that we complement. We are also, as Dafni says, we are not just VOD platforms, we are also distributors, and we complement with other distributors. And we do also join adventures with other distributors. We have, for example, the example of Anatomy of a Fall. We acquired Anatomy of a Fall in a pre-sales with Elastica, the distribution company, the main distribution art house company of Spain, and we acquired it in Rendezvous Paris, Marché Paris, that was in June. And then we won the Palme d'Or here in Cannes 2-3 months after. And then we did the distribution together in a joint venture, and we achieved like more around 400,000 admissions, And in this sense, for example, we just did with another distribution company, Avalon. We acquired Love Lies Bleeding. We acquired the all rights, and then I think that it's good for the movie, for us, because right now, as I was saying, Dafni, we have like wonderful titles like Birds, But depending on the territory, start asking for prices for those movies, There are some prices that it's like, and keeping in mind how is the market and the theatrical run in Spain, it's like a key point that we start making joint adventures, We release Love Lies Bleeding with Avalon, for example, in Spain. And otherwise, we also do like limited releases that we do our own with, for example, Goldman Case. We acquired here in Cannes that was the opening film of Quinze ans de réalisateur last year. And we did it only us, and we had like more than 10,000 admissions, So there are like different levels, But it's so important that, okay, we are competitors, but we can be also partners, One thing doesn't mean that can't be the other thing, And that's, I think, another positive thing. We must be positive, I think.
Yeah, that's nice, that there's so much conflict and negativity in the world. It's nice to hear that people work together. Right? And with that, I want to open it to the audience. If anybody has a question, raise your hand. If there's no questions, I can keep going. But there's a young lady. Oh, the young lady is going to read out with a microphone by this gentleman, please. Thank you.
I just wondered if you could you said a little bit about the interest or the cinema tickets of art house films going down, and I wonder how it is on the VOD platforms. I mean, how do you keep it up to rise the interest? Because so many people don't even get to know about the film on the cinemas because they are so shortly sometimes out there. So how do you work to increase the interest of people on art house films? That's one thing. As it's different audiences, there are different strategies. So, and I wonder also if it's too difficult to get now art house titles because of the actual situation of the market. I hate to hear my voice.
It happens. I think that the first key thing for us, and in Filmin we have clear it's art house cinema. The art house cinema can be commercial also. Why the art house cinema can't be commercial? And I think that sometimes we are the first responsibles of creating or limiting a niche for some movies. We always think that we must go beyond the niche. And here is the work that we must do with marketing. For example, in Filmin we have a department with more than 20 people that works in the department in putting in value these movies and making them commercial, with social media, just in the platform also. How do you edit those movies? To watch movies, do you relate them, And I can give you an example that I was very happy for this example. For example, it's like a classical movie, Come and See, a Russian classical movie. I don't know if you know this movie. It's a war movie from the 80s. And it's been renowned as one of the best war movies of the whole time. In Spain, it was never released in cinema. It was remastered by Mosfilm. We acquired it in Venice. And we, a VOD platform, what we did is, this movie never was in cinema, so we are going to put this classical movie from the 80s in the cinema. But we are not going to tell that it's an art house movie or a classical movie. We are going to tell that it's one of the most watched movies of the history that never was watched in Spain in the big screen. And it was for 1 month.
Keep going.
It was for 1 month in all the cinematheques of Spain, with a sold out in most of them, and there was there in social media the people speaking about that. So 1 month after, it came to Filmin, and it was like, wow! So for 2 months, was one of the most watched movies, most watched 5 movies. We are talking about a classical movie of the 80s. So that's commercial or that's art house? What's that?
I love that theme because my neighbor says they have young kids and they have music streaming services, and the young kids listen to ABBA because they all think every ABBA song is new because they have never experienced them before. So I was wondering, Dafni, do you see this too? If you release a classic movie that people might not be aware of, or a small audience might be aware of, suddenly to more people this is appealing again, do you know?
Totally, and I actually was going to say that your question is the heart of our business. We are there to find the audience. We're there to encourage and strengthen the film enthusiast audience, the film loving audience, and to grow that audience. Because growing that audience means we grow our industry, we grow our market. So how we do that? By building our brands, by good marketing, by giving value to being part of it. By trying to be the one who is talked about. If everybody's talking about Cinobo or Filmin, then a film that is smaller and usually goes unnoticed can get a chance to get noticed. And I actually have a great example of that, which is a film that is a super strange case scenario. It's called Magnetic Fields by Yorgos Rousis, which is basically like a film that cost 8K to make in production, and it's shot on a mini DV camera. It's quite experimental, but actually very sweet and very appealing to could appeal to a broader audience. This film would normally do 1,000 admissions in cinemas, but because Cinobo distributed it and found the right strategy for it, and Cinobo put its seal of approval on it, that nearly reached admissions of Dogtooth, of Lanthimos. So it's like, which was in Cannes, you know what I mean? So
it won the prize, the award for the best picture of the Greek Academy, maybe. Did this one Magnetic Fields? Or it was awarded
of the Greek Film Academy.
Yeah.
But I mean, these awards are.
Okay. It's not like Goya's in Spain.
It's not very big in Greece. It's not very big in Greece.
Because we also acquired it.
But we do also find, like, one of our main goals is to bring the younger audience, to show them that art house is not just for old people. The fact that the cinema as we know, the theaters as we know them haven't really changed all these years doesn't mean that they're not for young people. So streaming is a way to introduce them to Kieslowski or, or art house. And it's a way to make them love it and make them come back to the cinema.
Now, Matthias, how often do you get that request, help us reach those young people, and what do you go to? Is it all about TikTok these days, or what's...
Yes.
Yes, the answer is yes.
No, honestly, TikTok for us, like, I think 2.5 years ago, we had never done a campaign on TikTok. Nowadays, I think we do all our campaigns. Of course, not like business-to-business campaigns, but any kind of audience, we do a lot on TikTok. TikTok is great.
Does it involve dances, like I hear a big on TikTok? No.
TikTok is not anymore just a platform about dance, but TikTok is much cheaper than Meta. So if you advertise on TikTok, you can actually get much more reach than if you advertise on Instagram or on Facebook. And the TikTok algorithm somehow works much better. For us, it has happened it has only happened on TikTok that some of our videos become really viral. Like, we had a release in Austria of a documentary about people with Down syndrome. And we did like this video where we just took like pieces where they explain in their terms what it is to live with and we put like a text appearing to what they say, so you can watch it without sound. and we ended up having 3 million views. Of course, they were not all in Austria, but a part was in Austria. And since we were working for the film in Austria, they were very happy about that. And this is because the algorithm is a bit different on TikTok. But of course, if you go on those channels, you need to understand the language, And if you show like a 2.5-minute trailer that starts with 5 logos appearing like that, people have already gone somewhere else. You still publish it in 16:9, which, on a phone is not going to look like anything. No, but that's super important, So understand the language. We were working on this film called Reinas that premiered at Sundance. It's a film about Peru. It's a drama, Peru in the 90s. It's not fun, but we decided to do like a double interview with the 2 young actresses for TikTok, like where they're interviewing each other and they say, we're asking them a quiz, like, which of you is going to become a Hollywood star? Which of you was late on set? And they're answering, it's very funny format. That's what happens. That's what works on TikTok. So it's also like, think about your language, but also think about the platform, think about your film, but think about like the language of the platform you go on and translate, your film into that language. Yeah, or get an agency like us that can do it for you.
Yeah, I love the idea of having fun, even if it's maybe a serious movie, reach a different audience. I think we have time for one more question right there. Do we have a microphone for the young lady right there? Oh, yeah, it's coming from behind you.
Hi, my name is Marina Nieva. I'm from the Ivory Coast. I'm a filmmaker. And my question is about films from my region. So I'm from the Ivory Coast, and we're making pretty much West African movies because we have a regional audience, pretty much. So we are very used to co-production, for instance, between Ivory Coast and Burkina Faso or Guinea or Mali. And these are countries that are perhaps not very familiar to, because I didn't know your platforms before today, so I'm glad I know them now. So my question is about content from this part of the world. Like, we have stories that are culturally ingrained in our region, but also have international and universal appeal. And we do have the quality. So I wonder, what's your viewership outside Europe? And also, what's the appeal for this type of content coming from this part of the world to your viewers? And finally, like, when you acquire content, so if I were to propose content to you, would you be more... is your policy more towards individual content, or does it have to be a slate of projects because it's from a region that you're not used to curating content from? So, yes.
Well, short answer is yes, we're interested. I mean, like, we screen content from all over the world. In Cinobo, we have content from over 90 countries, and but the long answer is it has there is a series of criteria that we are trying to meet when we choose content for the platforms. There is the needs that we have, what the audience tells us, but also the quality criteria around the film. We don't necessarily need to buy films in a bucket, in a slate, and we don't do that. We actually curate, we handpick. So it's very likely that at some point we'll get to a film from Ivory Coast, yeah.
I think that the only condition for territories, it's usually also the helps that you can have. It's not the same for me to deal for a European movie that I know that I can apply to media and have like funds and helps, or to deal with a North American movie, African or Asian movie that I know that all the MG that I'm gonna pay, it's gonna be difficult to have helps. Even also including UK, and we don't look at territories, we look at films. For example, we acquired last year, Banelanadama from here. We are going to release it just in 2 months, or a movie like Omen also, so, or also City of Wind, a Mongolian movie, It's a Mongolian movie but it shoots like in a very occidental way, and it shows you like a very different approach that we are used. So finish with my star. You know, it's like we are looking for movies that has this genuine appeal, touch, and that the audience and the spectator that are the home, once they watch this movie, our goal is always that, wow, this kind of movie, I can only watch it in Filmin. And that's the key thing that keep this subscriber keeping his subscription. That's the core of our business, to get fidelity, you know.
But it's important to clarify, because earlier you're talking about audiences that, for example, Cinobo is currently only in Greece and Cyprus, and Filmin is only in Spain and Portugal. So somebody from your region wouldn't be able to access the content. It's because it's geolocalized. We only have the rights for our territories.
And maybe just to add a word, since we're at the Cannes Film Festival, you know, you also need to consider that very often it's the festivals that create a reputation for a film. That they will, you know, that Mongolian film, if it had a premiere at an A festival, it would probably not be on your platform. So at the end of the day, it's really you see like the key role of festival programmers in kind of choosing certain films over others and stuff like that. And I feel at the moment your region maybe is not in the focus, unfortunately, of those programmers.
Sounds great. I think we unfortunately have to wrap it up. I wanted to see anything we didn't discuss that you want to give people as a little takeaway, anything that you want to highlight that we didn't have a chance to highlight, Joan?
No, I just want to say again, you know, that here, when let's talk about art house cinema, but let's talk also about commercial cinema. Let's make it, that's the way of keeping to the audience. We must go beyond the niche. And this platform, okay, we are independent platforms, but we can have a wider spread and a wider ambition to get to a higher audience, because if not, we are not going to grow. That's the key thing, to keep growing, and making the market bigger and also more diverse. That's the key thing also, you know. So yeah, I would say that.
Okay.
No, you go. I don't think I have anything to add. So
Perfect. Then Daphne,
for me,
final
what
word
I
from
would
you.
have to add is that, you know, there's been a lot of talk about streaming killing theaters, and what I want to say here is that this is not true. As in, like, you know, we live in the golden era of production. There's so many diverse stories being told from so many different perspectives, and it's simply impossible with the current markets, with the current market for all these films to find their audience through theaters. So the fact that a film hasn't found its way to theaters doesn't mean to stay locked in shelves and drawers. So I think it has to be engraved in people's minds that we're here because we love cinema, and we have to make it work synergistically. And streaming can create the audience that we're looking for also in cinemas.
Well, with that, I say thank you to the three of you. Thank you to everybody here. And have a lovely rest of the festival.